Last night on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, and this is the closest I'll ever get to being a successful rapper. Actually, it was Mardi Gras night tonight. We had a big celebration to help the Epilepsy Association of Western and Central Pennsylvania, and I was honored to be the MC tonight. Raised a lot of money to help people with epilepsy, and that's what it's all about. But it is Fat Tuesday as we welcome in, and I didn't say that leading into you because you're fat, just because it is Fat Tuesday. Andrew Fillipponi over at 93.7 The Fan. How are you tonight, Andrew?
Bob, you know what people have to do to earn those beads, so I'm hoping that there were no camera phones at the event tonight. Actually, check that. I'm hoping there were many camera phones, and then eventually we'll see some online, yes.
It was done privately. You don't have to worry about that. In the meantime, we're here to talk sports, and we'll begin with a big night for Pitt basketball. I thought Duquesne was going to have the same thing. I was following along over there while I was doing the emceeing duties, and I saw Pitt was up, and I said, man, they must be shooting outside. If you're going to beat Virginia, because Virginia is one of those clamp down teams that doesn't give up a lot, you're going to have to beat them by making shots. And they did make shots. 40% from three. Blake Hinson with 27. That's 4 in a row, Pony. They're all of a sudden in position to get back into the tournament. And last year they got into that play-in round, and they won one. What do you think of the Panthers so far?
Well, Blake Hinson has now done this twice, where he's gone to these hostile environments against great teams. Now, he went to West Virginia and had a great shooting game too, but they're obviously not on the same level as Duke and Virginia, and had monster games, just huge performances, didn't miss a three against Duke. And it wasn't just the three-point shooting. He made all kinds of shots in this game. He scored 27, and I think he was 5 of 13 from three. So that means that the other 12 came from two-point field goals. And that's really been something he hasn't done a lot of this year. He's really just been a guy that's lived and died with the three. But he is a matchup nightmare for Virginia because, Bob, he's just as likely to make a shot falling down with a hand in his face as he is to make a shot with no one around him. He's just that kind of player. So the type of defense he's seeing really doesn't matter. And that's why Pitt is a dangerous team, because they have a very streaky shooter. And to go along with that, the backcourt of Lowe and Carrington has really come on, especially Lowe. Lowe, to me, has been the X-factor player for this team since they've started this run, because his elevation to the starting lineup and moving Leggett to the bench, I think, has been the single most important thing that Jeff Capel has done to get this team back into the NCAA tournament conversation.
Yeah, and he's a true freshman. And they got a couple of young guys making things happen. And Leggett, even though he's coming in off the bench most likely, he also contributes. They got 3 guards, are all playing well, and you get contributions from Diaz Graham from the outside like they did tonight. You never know how this is going to go, but you live by the three-point shot. Oftentimes you die by it too, and if they have a shooting night that's not very good, it could lead to some trouble because they're not the biggest team inside. Let's talk about Duquesne real quick, because they had a chance to upset Dayton. Dayton's a very good team, ranked 16th in the country, and they had it in position with under 8 minutes to go, and then they allowed some outside shots. Keith Danbrough got teed up, and then all of a sudden it's a 16-point loss.
Yeah, they're a funny team, Bob. I mean, you look at their roster, they've really only got 2 guys that score. They've played a ton of guys this year. The DeMichael kid from Olsh is in their starting lineup now and playing a lot as a freshman. That's a tip of the cap to him, a local kid. But I'm surprised that they've already needed to lean on him so much. I thought this team was honestly going to be one that competed with the top 2 or 3 teams in the A-10, Richmond, Dayton, VCU. Instead, they're closer to the middle and actually even closer to the bottom. I thought this was a pivotal year for Danbrough. It looked like it might be a special year, and they're out of conference, but they've really struggled in the A-10. They've lost a lot of home games in the A-10, and it just looks like right now it's going to add to that drought, Bob. It's been like almost 50 years now, I think, since their last NCAA tournament appearance. It's crazy.
I had more hopes for them this year, but it's just not it started okay, and then it's just fallen apart here recently. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're talking about the Pirates open up tomorrow. Win total is 74.5. I'll get Andrew's take on that. Also, Penguins hosting Florida, a team that's really hot on the road. And Justin Fields' name, it keeps coming up. We'll talk about that and more. Our GMC Sierra tweet of the night comes from CBS College Basketball. Down goes number 21. That's right. Pitt defeats Virginia to break the longest active D1 home win streak, which was 23 in a row. And a difficult place to play, mostly because they keep the score down, do the Cavaliers. But Pitt got them to open up, and very impressive on the road. So that's 4 in a row. All right, let's get into some other things real quick, Andrew. Morgan Riley got 5 games for his hit on Ridley Gregg the other day. That's the minimum you can get if you make an in-person appearance. I thought it'd go higher than that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that decision. I thought it should have been more, too. Just a Bush League stunt. I mean, I get it. You don't like a slap shot on a breakaway. You think it's kind of a hot dog move. But there's got to be a better way to handle that. Actually, maybe the next time you play them, try to legally fight the guy. Don't do something Bush League and blindside hit him like that and clock him in the face. I thought that was the wrong way to handle it. But the NHL needs to crack down on stuff like that, especially when people are getting hit in the face with all the concussion issues. So
exactly, you could have done a lot of different things. He could have gone up to him, just put whatever. He cross-checked him in the face. It should have gotten more. Penguins tomorrow start. They have 33 games left. They're not in a good position right now. They're taking on a team that's won 8 in a row in the Florida Panthers. Last time here, Pittsburgh beat them. This time, in those wins, I mean, they're 33% power play. They're killing off just about every power play that they have to face, penalty kill. And the Penguins have all these problems. This doesn't look like a good matchup, but there's something about it that tells me that somehow, some way, the Penguins may pull it out. What's your thought?
Well, the Penguins don't get blown out usually because their goaltending has been really solid this year. And they don't give up a lot of goals. So they're in games. And so that gives their power play an opportunity to be the difference in a game. Usually it's the opposite. They lose because of it. And also it doesn't really, Bob, if you score 3 goals with the team they have, you're going to win like 90% of the time with how their defensive effort has been through the first 2/3 of the season. So that's the thing, I give them a shot in a lot of these games because they are a pretty disciplined team, but they just, the power play, if it's league average, Bob, and not one of the worst in hockey, I think they're easily in the playoffs right now. I think they're one of the 10 best teams in the NHL if they have an average power play this season.
And who thought we'd be saying that at this juncture of the game? But they got a lot of digging out to do because the Flyers won last night. They're 11 up on them. Penguins have 5 games in hand, but boy, you got to win just about every one of them. Real quick before we go to the lines here, I know you saw the Draft King and the where Justin Fields heading to Pittsburgh was a few weeks ago was at 1,600. Now it's down to where the Steelers have the leading odds. I still don't think it's going to happen for a lot of different reasons. I understand why Mike Tomlin would be interested, and I certainly understand his talent level, but it just too many things to me would have to go against what the Steelers are trying to do here, which sounds to me like prop up Kenny Pickett as much as possible. If you bring him in, I just don't know how you do that because he comes in as the starter. You owe him $22 million on a 5th-year option. If you do this, you're going to have to do it, plus you give up a draft pick or whatever. So it sounds good, but I don't think it's going to happen, Andrew.
Well, let's go through some of those things you said there. So why do they have to pick up the 5th-year option immediately?
Well, if you're going to make that investment, you don't have to, but you don't do it unless you plan to do it, I think.
Well, but what kind of investment are we talking about in Fields?
About his yearly salary?
No, I mean, what are you giving up to get him?
Well, I don't know that. I mean, I've heard anything from a 1st round to a 3rd round pick. So it could be, if it's a 1st round pick, I don't think they're going to do it.
Well, you hear 1st round pick, Bob, but honestly ask yourself right now, who do you think is going to trade for Justin Fields if it's not the Steelers?
Atlanta. Atlanta has pressing needs a quarterback. They have a new administration there. I think they would.
Well, fair enough, but they can also draft one with the 8th pick.
But you may not get who you want in the 8th pick, though. You might be able to get him and then still have the 8th pick, depending on what you give up and add to it.
Let me ask you a question. If you were the GM in Atlanta, okay, would you rather take J.J. McCarthy with the 8th pick and have him for at least 4 years and just take him, or give up a 2nd round pick for 1 year of Justin Fields?
2nd round pick for 1 year of Justin Fields. I still believe that. Yeah, for them, I do. But You know, you understand what I'm saying about Pickett. They would have to abandon all of their thoughts about Kenny Pickett. And I just, you know.
Well, what are their thoughts about Kenny Pickett right now? They thought Mason Rudolph was better than him at the end of the year.
I understand, but their investment, what they're planning to do, it sounds to me like the more logical thing, and I don't necessarily agree with this, as I said to you last night, is to bring in that veteran guy, whether it's Ryan Tannehill or anyone else, and then draft somebody.
Bob, I know it's a long time ago, but let's go back to another first-round pick. How long were they committed to Mark Malone for? Did they give him 3 years? Did they ride that out? I mean, it's still Art Rooney's team. I mean, I think by nature he is a loyal guy and he is a patient guy. But he also sat down with you and underlined the urgency word.
He did.
So which one is it?
Well, you can be urgent by doing a lot of things. I don't know what the answer is. I don't. And if I'm a betting man, I would disagree with those odds. I would not take that just because I think it would disrupt too many things that they believe in and what they believe of Kenny Pickett. That's just me. Let's get to the lines. We got a lot of them here, Andrew, and I'm sure we'll continue this. Fred in North Huntington is first up tonight. Fred, welcome.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. That's exactly what I want to talk about. I think the Steelers are in a real tough situation here, Bob. I mean, you're talking about a two-time NFL MVP in Lamar Jackson. You got Joe Burrow in the division. You got Allen out in Buffalo. You got Mahomes. You know, before these guys' careers are over, I mean, there is the potential there, Bob, of 4 Hall of Fame careers.
Yeah.
I know that's, saying a lot, but there is that potential. And they still have a good, probably 4 to 5 years of good football left in them if they stay healthy. I really think what's going to have to happen, Bob, all the guys you're talking about right now that can come to the Steelers, it might be an upgrade from what they have right now. It's not the guy that's going to lead you to a Super Bowl or 1 or 2 down the road. They're going to have to draft somebody again.
Pony, I mean, that won't happen unless everything goes awry here. I don't see that. They will draft a quarterback. I'm fairly certain of that this year, somewhere later. I don't see it early on, and I think he's kind of his assertion there is they're going to draft somebody in the first round. First of all, they're not in a position ever to do that unless they trade up, which is part of the problem.
Well, they could take Michael Penix in the first round if they wanted. I think he'd be their 20.
Do you like him?
I would not recommend that, though, because he's had 2 ACL injuries.
Yeah. And he looked bad
he's
in that game.
But he also looked incredible against Texas.
Yeah, he did.
So that's the other side of it. I mean, Stroud looked awful against Michigan and then looked great against Georgia, and he had, one of the best rookie seasons by a quarterback ever. So I got to be mindful of that. But I mean, I would not. No, I wouldn't. I don't think there's going to be the type of quarterback at 20 that would make me want to use another first-round pick this soon on a quarterback.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting how it plays off. Let's go to Alex in Indiana, who has a different thought. Hello, Alex. How are you?
Thanks for taking my call there, Bob.
Sure.
What I'm kicking around here a little bit is, you remember what happened to Drew Brees back whenever he was with San Diego, and he got kind of like ousted and went down to down to the Saints there with the coach right now, Sean Payton.
Yep.
What would be the odds maybe of Mason going out there and working with Sean Payton and have a complete turnaround if you have an offensive line that helps protect you?
I never thought of that as a partner, Andrew. Would you? Payton and Rudolph.
No, I think Sean Payton is going to draft the quarterback, and I think the guy that's there already will either be the quarterback at the beginning of the year or will be, like they paid Jarrett Stidham decent money. And so I think that's going to be his job to help usher in whatever rookie quarterback they take.
Are you?
Well, he's not going to be. No, Bob, he's going to be. He's a buffer. He's like Trubisky was for Pickett. That's what I mean. I think they'll take a quarterback. I think they could take Bo Nix in the first round, somebody like that, and that's their next quarterback.
I was hoping the Steelers may end up with a guy like that if they, in fact, draft somebody. Who knows where they're all going to fall? There are a lot of quarterbacks available in this draft. Let's go to Kirk in Manor, who joins us right now on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Hey, Kirk.
Hey, how you doing, Bob?
Good.
Hi, Andrew. I was just wondering what you guys think. Do you think we're in a situation where we're stuck on the Graham, Bubby Brister,
Neil O'Donnell?
Thank you. Well, Neil was okay, but
but in other words, the Kent Grahams of the world. Not that any of these guys do that, because he could never move, Pony. But I get his point. You could be in that middle where you just can't solve your problem. I don't know. Are they there in your estimation, or do you think they're going to whittle their way out to something?
Well, if your opinion is right, and I have a hard time disagreeing with it, that they're going to give Kenny another year and they're just going to bring a Ryan Tannehill in, it sounds like they're just stuck in that spot. If that's all they're going to do. I mean, Patrick Mahomes just won his third Super Bowl at 28 years old. Teams that have that type of quarterback play are not going to go on long playoff runs, Bob. They're just not. So that's it. The idea of just kind of running it back next year disappoints me, because I think that there's a very firm ceiling for what that team can accomplish if that's their plan.
Unless Kenny Pickett breaks through the ceiling that I think a lot of people feel he is operating under right now. And if that happens, and it could happen, I'm not going to rule that out because I've seen things from him that I like. You just got to figure out how to do it on a more consistent level. These are money takes here on this show, especially when Pony's on. Which leads me to 74.5. Pirates win total. I'm going over that. They had 76 last year. What do you think, Andrew?
Bob, I hate to say this, but I'm very disappointed in how their offseason has gone. I mean, I just don't see the kind of starting pitching help that I thought was necessary to take a team that was trending in the right direction at the end of the year and make them a playoff caliber team. So I've got them in the mid-70s again, just like last year, maybe 73 and 89. For them this year.
Everyone's stuck in the middle here. You know, I brought this up the other day, and it was shot down immediately by a lot of people on Twitter, but so be it. Why not make an offer to Blake Snell? Not Ian Snell, Blake Snell. Blake Snell is a guy.
Well, Ian Snell's more in their price range, that's why.
Yeah, but he's going to steal your shoes. You don't want that to happen. Would you do that?
Yes, but it's not my money, Bob. That's why I want to spend it.
Me too. All right, Pony, thanks. As always, appreciate it. We'll see you again later in the week. In the meantime, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll do it again tomorrow at 10:35. Chris Meller will be in here. We'll take your calls then. Thank you for joining us here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.